And I said, your hand's always broken. You ain't known for your punching power since you moved up from lightweight to welterweight. Why are you so sure you're going to do this?
Wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight.
For that, Floyd is the best fighter, in his era. And I feel like I'm the best fighter in my era.
Stephen A. Smith responded to Floyd Mayweather calling out Terence Crawford by saying the boxing world today holds some fighters back while overhyping others. He feels Crawford should get more respect for his talent and achievements. Stephen also pointed out that age matters and Mayweather is past his prime. In his view, the focus should be on Crawford's dominance instead of pointless comparisons or hype that distracts from his real greatness.
Think about what he had to say about you when he said you're way better than Floyd Money Mayweather. I know you heard that he said that. What thoughts came to your mind when you heard that Canelo Alvarez said that about you?
Hey, that's a big compliment. He's been in the ring with both of us, so he would know, from his own experience. A lot of people they can say this, they can say that, but there's only, a few people that can say they've been in the ring with Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather and get their own.
Shane Mosley compared Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather by noting that Crawford is the naturally bigger fighter. He explained that Crawford's size and power give him an advantage Floyd never had at welterweight. At the same time, Mosley pointed out that Mayweather's strength came from his technical precision and defensive brilliance. Floyd's ring IQ helped him beat bigger opponents, a challenge Crawford doesn't face as much. Mosley's view shows that while Crawford benefits from physical dominance, Mayweather's legacy rests on skill and adaptability.
Do you think's better out of those two, Crawford or Mayweather?
I think Crawford is better, bigger. He's moving weight class, and I would say Crawford is a better fight all around fighter. Mayweather's really good too, though. You can knock him as well. He's very talented. It would have been a tough fight, but I think Crawford would have the edge over Mayweather because of the long arms and because he's bigger. You know what I'm saying? And he would have kept him at bay. It would have been hard for Mayweather to counter, maybe. But Mayweather's definitely a technician. I mean, like Crawford said, Mayweather has his era, and Crawford, this is his era.
In an interview with Ariel Helwani, Terence Crawford reminded fans that Canelo Alvarez is in a rare spot to compare. Since Canelo has fought both Mayweather and Crawford, his opinion matters. Crawford explained that the situations were very different. Mayweather fought a young and less experienced Canelo while he faced Canelo as a proven champion at 168 pounds. Even with the size gap, Crawford came out on top, showing his strength and skill against a much bigger rival. For Crawford, Canelo admitting he felt more power from him only proves that greatness belongs to different eras.
Cooking right there, because there was this thought, this prevailing thought that the smaller man always loses to the bigger man. This was repeated time and again throughout the fight week. And he proved that that's not the case. Again, I hope you all recognize this was a 168-pounder fighting a 147-pounder. He had one fight at 154 last August, was the undisputed king at 147, beating Errol Spence in July of 2023. Came back the following year, fought Israel Madrimov at the soccer stadium in Los Angeles, and then did everything he could to get this fight, played his cards the right way, and there he was, standing face to face against Canelo Alvarez, who did seem for the longest time like he didn't want to take this fight, and because there was great risk involved, because not only is Terence Crawford one of the all-time best fighters in the history of the sport, he's smaller than him, so a lot of people would be like, oh, of course you're going to beat the smaller guy, right? But I think Canelo recognized, yeah, he might be smaller, but he's that damn good.
Trainer Greg Hackett took a different view by stressing that Floyd Mayweather was a complete fighter when he faced Canelo. Hackett said Floyd's style at that time was sharp, disciplined, and unshakable, which Crawford's more aggressive approach doesn't fully match. He explained that Crawford depends on explosive counters and adjustments, while Floyd's greatness came from flawless execution all the way through. Though he respects what Crawford has done, Hackett believes Mayweather's perfection against Canelo remains unmatched.
The Floyd Mayweather that Canelo Alvarez fought.
Yeah.
And the last version of Terence Crawford that we've seen in the ring.
Yeah.
Who's the better fighter, Jeff?
Of course you got to give it to Floyd. Floyd at that time. Ben, what's up? Floyd at that time versus Canelo was in total confidence. His skill set, his IQ. You know what I'm saying? Everything he do, he was just a complete fighter that night. But I feel like was up against a lot because he was fighting a guy that we knew something about, but we ain't know too much about. People don't understand how much a fighter could be thrown off by what he don't know. And the reason it throws you off is because you're actually learning about the fighter while you're in there. That's what Bud went up against that night. That's why he didn't look so great. To me, I could be wrong, but he didn't look so great to me because he was learning a lot about Madrimov while he was in there with Madrimov.
Max Kellerman broke down the difference in how both fighters handled their careers. He said that after Floyd moved up from lightweight, he became very selective with opponents, making every fight a strategic choice. Crawford, on the other hand, often fought whoever was available without holding back. This has made Crawford look more daring and willing to take risks compared to Mayweather's careful matchmaking. Kellerman noted that this doesn't lessen Floyd's greatness, but highlights Crawford's drive to test himself across divisions and against tough opponents.
It's wild, because if you look at Floyd's resume, it's much deeper than Crawford's. And Floyd was faster and he had a better defense and all that stuff. But Floyd picked and chose when he fought guys, especially once he left lightweight. He wiped out the junior lights, bring him. Lightweight, he jumps up to Jose Luis Castillo first thing. A lot of people think he lost the first fight, I didn't, but then he won the rematch. But once he left lightweight, he was careful about when he fought guys. So even though his resume is deeper with names, people remember, but he didn't want it with certain dudes at certain times. Crawford, we all witnessed, even though the resume is thin in certain ways, he wanted it with everyone the whole time. That makes a difference to people.
Crawford boldly said that if he ever faced a prime Floyd Mayweather, he believes he would win. He made it clear this was not out of disrespect, but confidence in his own skills. Crawford respects Mayweather's abilities, but feels his own versatility, power, and switch hitting would give him the edge. For him, it's less about questioning Floyd's achievements and more about embracing the competitive spirit that defines true boxing greatness.
Who do you think wins in a fight, you or Prime Floyd?
Me.
No questions?
Why would you think that I would say Floyd? You know, that's one of my favorite fighters. But yeah.
Jeff Mayweather, Floyd's uncle, reminded fans that when Floyd faced Canelo, he was already past his prime. He was older, slower, and not as sharp as the version who dominated the lighter weights. Even then, Floyd outclassed Canelo with timing and experience. Jeff feels this detail is often ignored when comparing Crawford's win over Canelo to Floyd's. His point is that context matters since Floyd was fading while Crawford is still near his peak, making direct comparisons difficult.
Well, also if we remember, Canelo at that time was a razor-thin decision. Floyd won, majority decision. C.J. Ross had it with what a lot of people had as a draw. And then the other two judges scored it for Floyd, of course. And that was a Floyd at the top of his game with a very green Canelo with very little experience, and he still took him, into deep waters. So
what was Canelo? What, 20-something? 20 what? 23, 25?
Yeah, he was. Very, very young in the game,
very
obviously.
Young, very young. He had more fights than Floyd, and he lost.
Yeah,
to a man that was 30-something years old, 36.
But Floyd was clearly at the top of his career, and Canelo had fought a lot of people, but
how you at the top of your career in your prime? You in your prime? You ain't in your prime when you were 36. That's not your prime.
Did he lose? I mean,
your prime is in your 20s.
It's different for different people.
Yeah, okay. Well, so, and that's why Canelo was saying what he's saying.
Want
to make himself look like he did something great.
Stephen A. Smith shared his thoughts on Crawford's win over Canelo, calling it one of the most exciting performances in recent memory. He He praised how Crawford, despite being viewed as the smaller man, completely outclassed a much bigger opponent. For Stephen A., the fight showed not only Crawford's skill, but also his ability to entertain fans. He stressed that boxing needs fighters like Crawford who combine talent with excitement, making every fight memorable.
50,482 people showed up for this fight. But the biggest props of the night goes to Terence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, was a masterclass in boxing by Terence Crawford. Now, to me, the fight, some people were saying it was a severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all, okay? I had the fight 5-4 in favor of Terence Crawford after 9 rounds. It could have gone either way. And then he basically put on a boxing clinic over the last 3 rounds of the fight. And one rounds 10, 11, and 12. He used his jab. He kept his distance. He exchanged when necessary, which is something that I was scared to death of him doing. But he wasn't scared at all. Okay?
Another boxing analyst pointed out that Floyd Mayweather holds the bigger worldwide fan base, thanks to his long undefeated run and pay-per-view success. Still, when it comes to pure skill, he argued that Terence Crawford may even surpass him as a natural southpaw who can switch stances with ease. Crawford's style is unpredictable and hard to figure out. His timing, accuracy, and composure let him control fights in a way that reminds fans of Mayweather, but with his own unique touch.
Terence Crawford versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. Who wins this fight? I'm going with Terence Crawford, and I don't think that's unpopular or crazy to say. I think most people will agree with me. I understand Floyd Mayweather has a lot of fans out there, but the truth is, as great as Floyd Mayweather is, Terence Crawford is one of one. And I say that because who else has knockout power in both hands, is able to switch stances between orthodox and southpaw so seamlessly while having great footwork? It's not like Terence Crawford is some stationary target or a flat-footed fighter that's going to be chasing Floyd around. Terence Crawford knows how to cut the ring off. He has tremendous ring IQ. And not only is he a great boxer, but he's a great fighter. He'll be able to make it dirty. If he is on the inside with Floyd, that power will carry him far. And I just don't see how Floyd will be able to beat a Terence Crawford. I really don't see it. I understand Floyd's defense is incredible, but he is smaller than Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford would have a significant reach advantage on Floyd Mayweather. I believe Terence Crawford would also be taller than Floyd Mayweather, as well as all the skillful and technical aspects of what I just laid out prior. So I don't understand how anybody could pick Floyd Mayweather to beat Terence Crawford. Styles make fights, and I believe Terence has the style to beat one Floyd Mayweather. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Whether you agree or disagree, it doesn't matter. Join the discussion, subscribe for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent. Thank you. You are all appreciated.
Many in the boxing world remain doubtful about the non-stop comparisons between Floyd Mayweather and Terence Crawford. They argue that Mayweather's dominance was unique and can't be repeated no matter how much Crawford achieves. His defensive brilliance, unmatched ring IQ, and control in the ring set him apart in ways no one has matched. Critics also say Crawford's rise is being pushed more by hype than reality. With fans eager to name him as Floyd's successor, they stress that the two have very different styles and careers. Floyd built his legacy on defense and smart business moves, while Crawford shines through switch-hitting aggression and risk-taking. For these voices, the comparisons ignore those differences and are driven more by fan excitement than true similarity, making the debate feel exaggerated.
You guys say it with me. Terence Crawford isn't Mayweather. I need you guys to sit here, grab somebody close to you, hold their hand, sit down, say it with me. Terence Crawford is not Floyd Mayweather. They're just both black. That's the only similarities they have. They both black. Terence Crawford loves being hit. The guy likes to scrap. He likes to brawl. Terence Crawford isn't even an Alexander Usyk. This guy loves being hit. He gets a thrill out of it. He sticks his tongue at his opponents when he is hit. Look at that. He enjoys that stuff. He tends to fight with low hands at times. He tends to exchange and brawl in the pocket, plant and fire, despite him having really great feet. Sometimes he likes to sit there and fire. If you have Terence Crawford being Canelo, that's fine. I get you. But don't bring up Floyd Mayweather. No similarities. Floyd was way quicker, way sharper, better defensively, better reflexes, better timing, better IQ, better damn near everything. So say it with me one more time before we go. Terence Crawford, we said it, is not Floyd Mayweather. There we go.
One achievement that sets Crawford apart is his historic accomplishment of becoming the first boxer in history to be an undisputed champion in 3 different weight divisions. This feat proves not only his versatility, but also his longevity across multiple weight classes. Unlike Floyd, who never fully unified at welterweight or super welterweight, Crawford has stacked up titles in a way that no other fighter has done before. This achievement solidifies his place in history and makes his legacy unique from Mayweather's.
Terence Bud Crawford defeats Canelo Alvarez and becomes the first ever male 3-division undisputed champion in boxing history. Thank God the judges got this one right. But wow, what a technical battle this was. It was a very close fight, but as it went on, Terence was getting more and more comfortable in there. I remember in the 7th round, he even stood right in front of Canelo and fought him on the inside. Then in rounds 9 through 12, Crawford really started to open up on his flurries, gaining Canelo's respect. But the reason Crawford won this fight was because he was surprisingly durable at 168. He was able to do his thing because for the 36 minutes he was in there with Canelo, he was never really worried about what was coming back at him. I mean, Canelo just kept going to Terence's right side of his body, and that stung a couple times, but those were the really only hard shots Canelo landed. Unfortunately, this is terrible for Canelo's legacy because the smaller men beat him up, and Canelo's kind of been cherry-picking his opponents the last couple years. But well-deserved for Terence Crawford. It's gonna look amazing on his legacy. Boxing got it right tonight. On the biggest stage, with the most eyeballs, no controversy, just pure sport. And one of the best ever at the sport got it done tonight, Terence Bud Crawford.
After beating Canelo, Crawford explained how seriously he prepared for the fight. He said his whole training camp was centered on building strength and conditioning his body for the move to 168 pounds. Crawford made it clear the win was not about luck, but about planning, discipline, and trust in his preparation. His recap showed his commitment to making every fight count, proving that this era belongs to him.
Everybody was saying, the people that ran with that narrative convinced me that that was a narrative because I don't know the world as much. The thought of not having to lose weight is probably a happier, was it how was camp? Good camp?
It was great. You know, it wasn't a camp that we was focused on weight, you know, so we could just focus on my craft and focus on, you know, getting stronger, which we was already strong, you know, but, you know, we don't know what we up against. So, you know, we definitely want to make sure our body is prepared for whatever onslaught Canelo brings. So, of course, you know, we gonna, you know, cross our I's and dot our T's. And, you know, that's what we did in training.
You looked unbelievable. You looked absolutely unbelievable. Not that you ever don't, but it's just like, God, this guy looks like he is very prepared. And then as the fight continued, it felt that way. Turkey Al Sheikh deemed you the fighter of the century. And obviously Ring Magazine and TKO come together to put this incredible event together. What has it been like, you know, with the modern world of boxing now that Riyadh season has gotten involved? And obviously Dana and Nick Khan of the WWE. And it feels like anything is possible in the boxing world now. Is that the big takeaway that we should think after you and Canelo fight and have the success, or how do you kind of view it all?
Yeah, for sure. You know, anything is definitely possible. You know, when a lot of people kept saying that what I was trying to accomplish.
That wraps up today's video. Stay tuned for more.